tree.
Airport information.
Gathered
Mature
it.
trees out there.
That's tomorrow. I'm
Put it
actually
together and send it to
going
me.
to
And I did a
Topeka.
little bit of investigation.
No way to
Speak at
fast
the
track.
Capitol.
But I'm not sure.
Having a
there's a
Juneteenth
plan.
at the Capitol.
Get that together for you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We're good? Okay.
Okay, if I may have everyone's attention, we are now going to call the meeting to order. At this time, I would please ask that you rise as we receive our invocation by Sister Barbara McCracken. Sister.
Good afternoon. This prayer today is specifically for the commission members. We come before you, loving God, thanking you for giving us this privilege to serve the community on this commission. As we discuss the agenda and consider policies and actions for Atchison, help us always put the people's interests above our own. Make yourself at home in our hearts. May we find in you our unity, so we may journey together and not stray from the truth and what is right. Teach us the way we must go and how to pursue it. Do not let us promote disorder. Do not let ignorance lead us down the wrong path, nor partiality influence our actions. Guide us with wisdom and compassion. May all decisions today benefit the Atchison community and promote unity. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Please, thank you, Sister. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, since we do not have any proclamations, Tina, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Young,
Present.
Vice Mayor Wilcox.
Present.
Commissioner Greenlee,
Present.
Commissioner Murphy,
Present.
Commissioner Slattery.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. At this time, we will have our public forum. Persons who wish to address the City Commission regarding items that are not on the agenda may do so at this time when called upon by the mayor. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes and should give their name and address when addressing the commission. Any presentation is for informational purposes only. At this moment, our public forum is open. Seeing as we do not have anyone, our public forum is now closed. We will now have our consent agenda presented by our interim city manager, Mr. Clinton McNamee. Welcome, Clinton.
Thank you, and good afternoon. All right, looks like we have 4 items on the consent agenda this afternoon. Number 1 on page 4 and 5 is approval of the minutes of the May 28th special city commission meeting. Item 2 on page 6 and 7 is approve the minutes of the May 31st special city commission meeting. Item 3 is on page 8 through 10, and that is the minutes of the June 3rd city commission meeting. And item number 4 is on pages 11 through 16, which is approving the occupational license for trotters on the river.
All right, thank you, Clinton. Do we have any comments or questions for Clinton? Okay. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I make such a motion.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we agree to the consent agenda. All those in favor, please state by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we will have our new business. And first item on our new business is board openings. And we have one person who has decided to put their name forward for the Budget and Audit Committee, and that is Gordon Myers. And he will be for Budget and Audit Committee. We have 2 citizen-at-large positions available, 2 openings, and Gordon is seeking to fill one term that is continuous. Does anyone have any questions, or is there a motion to move Gordon Myers forward to be a member of the Budget and Audit Committee?
So there's still one opening on that?
There'll still be one opening.
I move that we accept this application.
Wonderful. It's been moved. Is there a second?
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we appoint Gordon Myers to the Budget and Audit Committee for a continuous term. All those in favors, please state by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations to Mr. Myers.
Did you say that was a continuous term?
Yes, right here, continuous, yes. All right, next, we will have communications presented by Interim City Manager Clinton McNamee.
All right, so number 1 is the May 2024 financials. Number 2, May 24 Atchison Event Center financials. Number 3, Atchison Housing Authority Board meeting minutes from April 16th. Number 4 is Atchison Housing Authority Board special meeting minutes from April 30th. And number 5 is Park and Forestry Board meeting minutes from March 11th.
All right, does anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you, Clinton. Next, we will have information items presented also by Mr. McNamee.
All right, the first 3, well, what you see, I've got an extra note here myself, but the first 3 are just the upcoming meeting schedules, basically. We have a special meeting for budget workshop scheduled for June 24th at 4:30. We have another regular meeting and budget workshop scheduled for July 1st, and then a special meeting and budget workshop on July 8th, and those all are at 4:30. And then number 4, I wanted to let everybody know, you probably received an email invitation recently, but our city engineer, who's been with us since 2004, is retiring this week. His last day will be this Friday, David Mahoney, and he's going to have a little retirement party and come visit him, wish him well if you can, and between 1 and 3 on Friday. I want to thank Dave for all of his years of all the projects that he's worked on, a lot of working with KDOT on things like C-CLIP projects and transportation alternatives grants, and just more than you can count on 2 hands, I'm sure, so the projects that he's worked on. Thank David for his time with the city, and I'll take that opportunity to provide a brief update on trying to fill those shoes. Several applications have come in, however, I have yet to see one who is a civil engineer. So I've talked to a few engineering firms that we work with, kind of seeing what their situations are like, and they say the similar, that it's very tough to recruit people in that line of work. I am in the middle of writing an RFP for on-call engineering services so that in case we don't fill that position, then we'll be set to hire an engineering firm or firms to help us through some of our projects coming up. So we should be okay, but it's not going very smoothly in terms of finding somebody to fill that role. So,
What's the pay schedule?
don't quote me, but I think we advertised it for 80 to 90,000, something like that, somewhere in that range. Yeah.
Clinton, you probably don't have any idea, but how long we may be in this situation, and then I'll let you answer that first.
How long we might be in?
In the situation of looking for an engineer, and then in terms of writing your RFP, do you have a timeline on that?
The RFP I hope to put out this week,
Okay, wonderful.
and that's just, we're talking about a matter of weeks probably before those results come back in.
Okay.
As far as filling that permanent position, I can't wager a guess on that. It's been advertised now for 2 or 3 months. I probably received over 20 applications, but it's things like software engineers or mechanical engineers, it's not necessarily civil. So
Right, very different. Okay. Any other questions?
I'm sorry, but I don't, what is RSP? I don't know what that.
RFP, request for proposal.
Oh, I see. Oh,
So if you ever hear us saying like RFQ, it's request for qualifications, which is pretty common when we go out for professional services, such as engineering. But however, this one, we're looking for hourly rates and things like that, so we'll call it an RFP, which is request for proposal, which includes the price.
RFP, I thought you. I had an S in there instead of the F.
Okay. Any other-
Any guesstimate on how many projects might be large enough that you would need to do that? Go to outside sources? If so, what kind of cost as compared to the salary?
I've looked at that before, and one of the things that's the deciding factor on whether or not you just commit to hiring out versus keeping internal is that our engineer and our engineering technician, they both have KDOT certifications for inspection. And so when we have KDOT projects that require inspection, this allows us to provide that kind of in-kind and not have to pay, call it $50,000 a project to hire a full-time inspector to come and be on those projects. So just in those alone, it pretty well pays for itself. The timing, you have control over what you're doing. I can tell you from working with different engineering firms that you don't always get the delivery on the day that you want it. I'm not, unfairly criticizing them. That's just how it is. You have more control, more one-face time with your engineer when it's internal. I don't know that I would ever recommend that, at least in the foreseeable future, recommend farming that out completely. So I hope that, we get some interest in that sooner than later.
If I might
Yes,
add one
please.
quick thing there, when I've looked at engineering billing schedules before, any engineer that works for even a small engineering firm like Olson or Snyder, considering them small, is going to bill at least $175 an hour. That's their billing to you. Now, that's not what they pay their engineer, but that's what the company is going to bill you. The hourly rate of the job that's posted is effectively $40 or $45 an hour. So it's a very, if you can find somebody to do the job in-house at that pay scale, and you've got projects to do, it's not even close cost benefit.
And to answer your first part of that question is how many projects, I would say it varies. It's not a two to four of, and you're usually KDOT, you got C-CLIP projects, highway projects, you got a TA project or two, depending on what year it is. And I'd say those are kind of it's usually the KDOT funded projects. And then things like, if it's a specialty item, like something at the water plant or wastewater or something like that, we usually hire that out anyway. Every once in a while, I have a stormwater project that the internal engineer will work on. The LFM park improvements, that was hired out. We kind of gear it to what, the expertise of the person in the position is, and highways and road construction and sidewalks and curb and stormwater are kind of his lane, and so that's what we focus on there. But we do more than 2 to 4 projects. It's just those are the ones that we kind of
Well,
handle.
my thought was
A to Z
if those
almost.
smaller projects, your in-house staff had enough experience and expertise to do that. And if you had 5 projects at $175 an hour, at 100 hours each, that would be $80,000.
Like I said,
So, I mean, you'd prefer to have an in-house, but you're going to be forced to go outside if we don't find somebody who wants these bigger projects.
And I don't mean to say that we don't go outside for things now. So like if there was a corridor improvement project, well, like we applied for Unity Street, for example, there's going to be a pedestrian lighting component to that where we will hire supplemental engineering to do like the electrical part of it. That's not, his specialty is the electrical part, or maybe some cross sections for, if it's needed, that's that sort of thing. So we have a handful of engineering firms that we use quite a bit. I would expect they would be interested in putting in a proposal. But ultimately, I think, I could be wrong, but I think my recommendation will always be to try to fill that spot. So.
Could that be a part-time job at all? And
I think it's going to be one of those things where there's going to be a part of the year where it seems like that would work, and then other parts of the year where it would not work very well at all, and you'd kick yourself for doing that. And it varies from year to year, because a lot of times it's grant driven. So sometimes we'll have a good year on getting grants, and we're overloaded. I don't want to say overloaded. I don't know that we've ever been overloaded, but certainly busier on designing projects and going through. There's so many processes going through these things where you got to meet all these deadlines, and it goes back and forth between us and KDOT, for example, and someone keeping track of that, someone executing that, meeting those deadlines, all those things, having that engineer in town when the contractor's here, and they're also serving double duty as project inspector and being able to have that direct communication with the contractors when because they always encounter issues when we're so many hills and valleys in town that when you're doing sidewalks and streets and stuff, and you're trying to make things ADA accessible, there's a lot of field design work, and it helps to have that person or persons in town and available for that.
Do you feel like that salary is comparable to an engineer with 3, 4, 5 years experience, even at a small engineering? Or is that salary part of the holdup?
I just had a recent meeting with an engineer from an engineering firm, and I was starting to suspect maybe we are so far behind, what the private side is offering, that this is why we're not getting any attention. And he said that they were actually starting newer engineers out less than what we had advertised. So but it's just that hard out there to find them. So.
Clinton, I don't know if this is something that would be workable, but looking at Benedictine College and perhaps looking at, because I do believe they have a civil engineering, I don't know, but I'm sure they do. Have we thought about perhaps looking at maybe a senior student or a graduate student that we could work with?
I believe they have to work under the supervision of a PE for 4 years before they can
Okay.
work
So we
autonomously,
can't- Okay. Okay.
I thought of that.
Yeah.
I'd hire somebody right off the
Yeah.
but yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Commissioners, anyone else have any questions or comments for Clinton on this? Thank you, Clinton. Okay, at this juncture, we have arrived at governing body comments, starting with Commissioner Murphy today.
I have nothing at this point.
All right. Commissioner Slattery?
I'm good.
Commissioner Greenlee?
Enjoyed the festivities at Juneteenth over the weekend, and had a nice showing. Not as large as usual, but good weather and a lot of good food and entertainment. So I would encourage folks, if you get a chance, I think it'd be worth your while to participate and attend those things. Makes a difference.
It does. All right, Vice Mayor?
I'm good.
Good, okay. I would just like to echo Commissioner Greenlee's comments that the Juneteenth celebration was really wonderful. Encourage attendance as well. As Commissioner Greenlee said, it's a really unifying time and a wonderful program. It was, I believe, the 18th anniversary of Juneteenth celebration here in Atchison, and again, it's a unifying, great thing to do, and we just encourage participants. I'd also like to thank the city, the police department, all of the city employees who worked really hard to ensure that the event was well taken care of, so we appreciate that. With that, I believe we are ready for adjournment to Land Bank. Is there a motion to adjourn to Land Bank?
I make such a motion.
And is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned to Land Bank.